Today we're setting our sights on Bihar. It's a place whose name, well, it just seems to resonate, doesn't it, with the spirit of a nation.
It really does. It's more than just a spot on the map. We're talking about a land where civilization really put down deep roots.
Deep roots, brave warriors, wise saints. It's got this incredible layered history.
Absolutely. And courage, wisdom, it all feels intertwined there, like the Ganges itself flowing through it.
So we're going to explore those layers, the history, the heritage, and maybe look ahead a bit at the potential future.
Sounds good. And tracing how society, developed there, that's key.
Right. Our mission for this deep dive is exactly that, understanding those ancient foundations and how they still perhaps shape things today.
It's fascinating because Bihar really feels like a fundamental building block in the whole story of the subcontinent.
When you say civilization took root, what are we really looking at, beyond just people settling?
Yeah, good question. It's about the emergence of, let's say, sophisticated social structures, groundbreaking ideas, how societies actually organize themselves, and how those early innovations spread outwards.
Okay, let's dig into that. Our sources point to these significant post-Indus Valley civilizations right there. Magadh, Vaishali, Mithila.
Names many will recognize, probably.
Yeah, from history class, maybe. But their unique contributions are what's really captivating. Let's take Vaishali.
Okay.
The records suggest it was the world's first republic, a Ganatantric Raja.
Which is just staggering, isn't it, when you think about the timeline?
The society experimenting with collective rule that early. Wow.
Absolutely. A Ganatantric Raja, it means decisions weren't just top-down from a king.
Right.
They had a council, maybe an assembly.
Right.
It shows incredible social and political thinking for the era.
So what does that tell us about how they viewed governance?
Well, it suggests a really advanced understanding, this idea of shared decision-making, a powerful early contribution to political thought, definitely.
It certainly does. And then there's Mithila. We know it from the epics, of course.
King Jonak, Saita, deeply woven into mythology.
But beyond the Ramayana, what was Mithila like? Intellectually, culturally?
Beyond the mythology, which is huge, Mithila was also known for its strong intellectual traditions. Philosophy, scholarly pursuits, that kind of thing. So it reinforces this picture. Bihar wasn't just pioneering politics, it was also this vibrant hub for ideas, for culture.
Especially when, maybe other parts of the world were less developed in those ways back then.
Exactly. It really stands out as a beacon of knowledge.
And this is where it gets, I think, really compelling. This cradle of societies then becomes this epicenter for huge spiritual shifts.
You mean Bodh Gaya?
Bodh Gaya. The exact spot where Siddhartha Gautama attained enlightenment became the Buddha.
One person, one event that just rippled across the globe, changed everything for millions.
It's amazing. And then the teaching spread out from there. Man.
Yes, what's fascinating is how Bodh Gaya became this magnet. People traveled from everywhere.
Spiritual seekers, scholars.
Right. And the Buddha himself, he didn't just stay put. He traveled the region. Places like Rajgir, Vaishali, which we just mentioned. They became key sites where he shared his philosophy. Peace, compassion, inner awareness.
And it wasn't just Buddhism taking root then.
No, exactly. Our information also brings in Mahavir,
the 24th Tirthankara of Jainism,
whose roots were also deep in that same soil. So you have this incredible convergence.
Two major world religions emerging from this relatively small area.
It's quite something. And speaking of knowledge and learning, we have to talk about Nalanda University.
Oh, Nalanda. The scale of it.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to grasp, isn't it?
10,000 students, 2,000 teachers. That's what the records suggest. In ancient times.
It wasn't just local either. It was properly international.
Absolutely. Scholars came from all across Asia. What exactly were they studying there that drew so many people in?
Well, imagine thousands of minds living, learning together centuries ago. Philosophy, astronomy, medicine, law.
A huge range.
It just paints this picture of a society that valued knowledge so highly.
And that dedication to intellectual power, it directly paved the way for what came next, didn't it? The empires.
Yes, Maurya and Gupta empires, both centered in Bihar. Huge pivotal periods for India.
Exactly. You've got these almost legendary figures. Chandragupta Maurya.
And his advisor, Chanakya, the strategist.
Right. Forging an empire. It wasn't just military might, though. It was sophisticated governance administration.
Yep.
But what's really striking about the Mauryan period, especially Ashoka's reign, is that shift, that transformation from conquest to, dharma, peace.
His edicts, right. all over the place.
Promoting ethical principles, tolerance, social welfare. It's a remarkable change in policy. How did that actually impact the region and further out?
That's a great question to ponder. And then, after the Mauryas, we get the Gupta period.
Often called India's golden age.
Our material really emphasizes the explosion of intellectual and cultural activity then. Bihar seems like a real powerhouse.
It does. Groundbreaking work. Science, maths, literature, art.
And the people who came from Bihar during that time.
Kalidas.
The great poet and playwright.
Aryabhata.
The astronomer, mathematician, game-changing contributions. Think about his work on zero, or pi.
Yeah. And Vatsyayana, known for the Kama Sutra.
Which gives us this fascinating window into the social norms, the culture of the time.
It's just this concentration of brilliance, truly remarkable. What specific contributions of Aryabhata, say, really lasted in astronomy?
Well, his ideas about the Earth rotating on its axis, calculating eclipses, foundational stuff.
Amazing. But as you said, history isn't usually a straight lineup.
No, it really is.
So our exploration then moves into the medieval period, a time of big changes and some serious challenges for Bihar.
Yeah, this was an era of shifting power dynamics across the whole subcontinent. And Nalanda, the destruction of Nalanda University.
Yeah.
The exact details are debated by historians, but
it was undoubtedly a huge blow, a massive disruption to learning. Definitely. And then the influence of the Mughal Empire grows, integrating the region into its larger structure. More change.
Yet even then, things were still happening. Progress wasn't entirely stalled.
No, not at all. Our sources mention Sher Shah Suri.
Ah, yes, the Grand Trunk Road, the GT Road.
Exactly. A visionary project, really. This vital artery connecting vast areas.
Is it?
Facilitating trade, communication.
It shows that drive, that persistence for advancement, even when times were turbulent.
That's right. Bihar's status changed. It became a province within these larger empires, but it stayed important.
Economically, politically.
And that GT road, that focus on infrastructure, it had benefits for centuries, really, for the whole region.
Okay, let's jump forward. Modern era. India's independence struggle.
And Bihar is right back in the thick of it, center stage.
That spirit of resistance, that yearning for self-rule, it seems particularly strong there.
It really does. You have figures like Veer Kunwar Singh, his leadership in the 1857 rebellion, incredible bravery. And then the Champaran Satyagraha, led by Gandhi, but rooted in Bihar. Transformative.
Why do you think Bihar was such fertile ground for these movements? What was it about the place?
That's a deep question. Maybe something about that history of independence, of challenging authority? Hard to say for sure.
And the leaders who came from Bihar during the freedom struggle. It's an inspiring list. Dr. Rajendra Prasad.
First president of India.
Jayaprakash Narayan, JP. A giant in the socialist movement.
Karpuri Thakur fighting for social justice.
Bihar wasn't just part of the movement. It felt like a nerve center, didn't it? A real driving force.
Absolutely. And that legacy, that focus on leadership, social reform, it continues to shape Bihar's identity, I think.
How so?
Well, the fight for independence was tied up with wanting a fairer society, right? More equality. Those themes are still very relevant there today.
Which brings us neatly to, well, Bihar today, present day.
Navigating the 21st century.
Our information shows a state dealing with modern complexities. On one hand, you see these big modern institutions, IIT Patna, AIIM.
And the revived Nalanda University.
Right. Signaling this renewed focus on education, on progress.
Which is vital. Reclaiming that historical role as a hub for learning, for innovation.
Creating opportunities for young people, attracting talent.
Contributing to development, both intellectual and economic. It's a crucial step.
But the material also acknowledges the challenges, and they're real.
Unemployment, infrastructure gaps, healthcare access. Yes, these are significant hurdles.
Obstacles that need tackling for Bihar to, reach its full potential.
It's important to keep that balance, though. Acknowledge the challenges, absolutely. But also recognize the energy, the resilience of the people, especially the youth. Their ambition is a powerful force for change.
And that points towards the future, doesn't it? Our sources sound quite optimistic here. A new narrative emerging.
Driven by innovation, by the younger generation's aspirations.
What's encouraging, specifically?
Well, the focus on sectors like agritech, edtech, young entrepreneurs using tech to solve local problems, create opportunities.
That ingenuity, finding local solutions, that's very positive.
Definitely. And tourism is another area, building on that incredible history and culture.
Digital services, too. Tapping into the wider digital economy.
It's about leveraging that profound past, but actively building a dynamic future, not just resting on laurels.
And a story's coming out. Young people from small villages making a global impact.
Those are perhaps the most inspiring. They really highlight the untapped potential that's still there in Bihar.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, we've really covered millennia, haven't we?
From the foundations of civilization right up to future possibilities, it's quite a journey.
A compelling story. Ancient wisdom, revolutionary ideas, empires, resilience.
And overcoming adversity, that's a key theme too.
Ultimately, Bihar's significance, it feels like it goes beyond just its amazing past.
Absolutely. It remains this region of, well, immense potential. It's still evolving.
Still capable of making a profound impact, maybe once again, on the world stage.
Who knows? The story isn't finished.
And on that thought, considering the ongoing dynamic story of Bihar, its potential for more growth, more influence, we'll bring this deep dive to a close.
Thank you for joining us.